History is strange, isn't it? One decision, one life, one moment, and everything shifts. Empires crumble, nations are born, movements rise, and revolutions change the world. We have seen it time and again, armies, weapons, and sheer destruction shaping the course of history. But every now and then, history takes a different path, not through brute force, but through the vision of a single person. Someone unexpected, someone who challenges the very idea that violence is the only way to change the world and rewrites the rules entirely. Now imagine a world where one of those pivotal people was missing. Ever heard of the domino effect? Tip one piece and the whole line tumbles. Now imagine a single domino missing. Not just any piece, but the one that held an entire movement together. What if one of history's most iconic figures, Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi, the Mahatma, never existed? Before the world knew him as the Mahatma, before he became a symbol of resistance, he was just Mohandas, a shy boy in a strict household in Porbandar, Gujarat, far from the leader that history remembers. Young Mohandas wasn't a visionary. He was a boy wrestling with rules, expectations, and even rebellion. He lied, he struggled with his studies, and he questioned the traditions around him. It wasn't until his teenage years, and later his time in London as a law student, that the seeds of something extraordinary were planted. A man who would go on to face down an empire. But history loves its plot twists. History is full of paradoxes, but few are as perplexing as this. Gandhi, the face of India's fight for freedom, was arrested countless times by the British but never executed. Meanwhile, revolutionaries like Bhagat Singh and Rajguru, who advocated for direct action, were swiftly silenced, hanged before their ideas could ignite further rebellion. Why? You'd think the British, masters of quashing dissent, would see Gandhi's nationwide movements as a threat.
Do or die.
And yet they didn't pull the trigger. Was it because they underestimated him, or because his non-violent approach was in their eyes less dangerous? But was Gandhi's survival a planned move? And what if the British miscalculated? The butterfly effect, a term coined by Edward Lorenz in chaos theory, suggests that a small change in one system can create monumental shifts in another. Gandhi's absence isn't just a small change, it's the removal of a seismic force. Let's rewind to 1869, the year Gandhi was born. But in this alternate reality, he never existed. Without Gandhi, the Indian independence movement takes a drastically different path. The moderates and extremists within the National Indian Congress remain at odds. Leaders like Bal Gangadhar Tilak and Subhash Chandra Bose rise to prominence much earlier, but their strategies, while bold, lack the unifying, mass appeal touch of Gandhi's non-violence. Here's the first twist. Without Gandhi's satyagraha, violence erupts in India on unprecedented scale. Revolutionary groups like Hindustan Socialist Republican Association gain more traction, and political assassinations, bombings, and armed rebellions become the norm. But then, something unthinkable happens. The British Empire, shaken by constant insurgencies, tightens its grip, ushering in a reign of terror. In our world, Gandhi's success inspired figures like Martin Luther King Jr. and Nelson Mandela. But in this alternate timeline, the absence of Gandhi's example causes a vacuum in the philosophy of resistance. The civil rights movement in the United States stumbles. Without Gandhi's principles influencing King, the movement turns more militant, and the American government's response becomes more authoritarian. Meanwhile, in South Africa, Nelson Mandela's ANC abandons peaceful protests earlier and delves deeper into armed struggle, causing prolonged conflict and international isolation. But the ripples don't stop there. Without India's organized non-violent struggle, Britain's resources are less strained. They pour more into their European fronts, potentially altering the outcome of key battles. To right-wing extremists in India, Gandhi was a divisive figure. They saw him as someone who pandered to minorities, weakened Hindu nationalism, and compromised too much. In this alternate timeline, their wishes come true, but at a cost. Without Gandhi's leadership during Partition, the subcontinent's division becomes bloodier. Communal rights spiral out of control as Hindu and Muslim factions, lacking a moral mediator, clash with greater ferocity. Millions more perish in the chaos, and the bitterness between India and Pakistan intensifies, leading to an even earlier Indo-Pak war. In the vacuum left by Gandhi, right-wing leaders attempt to consolidate power. But then comes another shock. Without Gandhi's counterbalance, a hyper-aggressive nationalist India emerges, leading to the suppression of minorities and internal dissent. The butterfly flaps its wings again, and the nation's democratic fabric begins to fray. The absence of Gandhi isn't just the absence of a man. It's the unraveling of a philosophy that changed the world. The butterfly effect shows us how interconnected events are, how one man's life can alter the course of nations,